Oxford from the inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth.
Hey guys, welcome to Oxford from the Inside, the good, the bad, but always the truth. Today we're here with Claire. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Claire. I am a third year economics and management student at Trinity College.
Cool. And today we're not going to be talking about economics or management, but something very different. We're going to be talking about Oxford Uni's Tea Appreciation Society. And here Claire is acting president and last year's president, if I'm right, of Tea Appreciation Society.
You are correct.
Nice. And can you give us a general outline of what is TSOC?
I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory. We basically meet up and drink tea. It's great. So it's usually from sort of 2 till 4 on a Sunday afternoon.
Catch that. Could you try again?
Sorry.
So
that went well.
That was beautiful. It's fine. I'll edit that out, hopefully.
Oh dear. Right, TSOC. So it's usually from 2 till 4 on a Sunday afternoon. Obviously, with a pandemic, not happening at the moment because we can't meet in person. But it's essentially just a couple of hours where you get to meet up, drink some tea, and have a chat. There's usually some theme to the week, so it will be a different kind of tea each week. So you get to try a lot, and you get to talk to some quite interesting people on the whole.
Yeah, I remember. I went to a Tea Appreciation Society gathering, I guess you'd call it, in first year, and it was really nice. It just about 20 or 30 people, didn't know most of them, and you're just walking around having a chat. It was a great break to my day to have a break from studying and drink tea. So you were saying,
I think it is quite nice that you sort of get a break from doing whatever work you're doing, and also just to get a break from the people you're around all the time. Like, you probably spend quite a lot of time with people on your course, or the people you're living with, and it's just a way to meet loads of different people. And as you say, like, there's a lot of people who come to one session in first year just for a bit of a break from something. There's some people who turn up every week. It's very sort of chill as to how much or how little you want to do.
And it's also nice that it's very much like I know has some of those aspects of drinking culture, but it isn't at all alcohol related, and there's not many things like that are actually society based, which is nice. Like a little house party where you're going around talking to people, but a bit more less carnage, I guess.
I like that. We should start marketing the sessions like that.
Well, they just come to your drinking society, aka TSOC. I think you would get a lot of press for that. I know that.
Yeah.
And I think there is a market for, I know a lot of people would in my opinion, be interested in TSOC because they might not want to drink alcohol, but also want to have that social element, and that's for me why I really liked it, why I'm going. But you said that there's a theme for each week.
Yes.
So what kind of themes have you had in the past?
So we've had quite a few sort of themes around teas from different countries around the world. Some of those we've done actually jointly with other societies in Oxford. So we did a Korean tea week where we had essentially a whole festival of culture there. We had Korean teas, but we also had, you can try on traditional Korean dress. We had someone there teaching you how to write in Korean. There was a lot going on. We've had a Japanese tea week where we had some guests in who actually showed us what a traditional Japanese tea ceremony looks like and how that works. And I think we had something like 100 people turn up for that one.
Wow.
It was quite a good turnout.
Bigger than most house parties.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've done some other weeks like tasting different kinds of fruit teas. Or I think actually the first session I ever went to, so long before I was president, was an English breakfast blind taste test. So we essentially had different kinds of English breakfast tea, ranging from sort of like your classic, Twinings English breakfast to, fancy Fortnum and Mason's tea, and also some freeze-dried PG tips, which I'll be honest, I would not recommend. It's not the most pleasant, but we were essentially given different cups of tea to taste, and we had to try and work out which was which.
Were you any good at that? Were you any good at that?
I was not great, to be honest. I picked out the PG Tips freeze dried one. That's quite easy to spot, but the others I was a bit lost. That's the other thing, is that when I came to uni, I enjoyed a cup of tea, but I did not know much about tea and hadn't tried many different kinds of tea. I now own something like 60 different kinds of tea, and vaguely, I don't know that much, but I vaguely know the differences between a black tea and a white tea now. So,
nice.
It's been a valuable learning experience.
From a chemistry point of view, there is a massive difference, and so it's a fair point to make. Yeah. Before we get onto the 60 teas, I was wondering, do you have a favourite English breakfast tea?
Favourite English breakfast tea? I do quite like a classic, just Twinings English breakfast.
Really?
Although I have a cup of tea here. It's not actually an English breakfast. It is an East African breakfast blend. And that's really good. I think it's my favourite black tea. It's very nice.
I thought all black teas, I thought English breakfast tea was only English breakfast tea, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. No, you can get other black teas. There's only a sort of marginal difference between them all, but this is a good one. This is
like a wine tasting, but I guess tea appreciation. I'm just the last one to learn all this, but yeah, this is so you're gonna get out your fine tea leaves now.
Exactly.
Bring out all the knowledge. No, that is great. East African black teas. I'll have to look it up. It's fine.
There's also a lot of teas that are made in Oxford as well. There's quite a wide selection of Oxford-based teas, so that's always good.
Damn. What was I going to say? Twining. I never thought of Twinings as a classic. I only buy it if it's on offer, and nothing that sums it up. But it's it would do the job. I won't dislike it. And it was, but I think for me, Tetley has to be the one.
Okay, fair. I don't usually go for a Tetley.
No.
Yorkshire tea is another good one.
Yeah, that's true. Yorkshire Gold, you think it's good, and then because it's the branding, and you're like, oh yeah, I've spent the extra money, and it's just not that nice. The classic. Me and my friends in the last lockdown were very excited about Yorkshire Gold, and no, it wasn't to be. But what was I going to say? I remember one of my friends. I said to him that I drink Tetley, and he's like, "Oh, thanks." He said that explains everything, and I was like, "Wow." And he said that him and his family all dislike Tetley, and I was like, "Wow, apparently it's too strong." Hopefully none of the tea companies listen to this. I'm sure it won't. I'm sure they don't mind us. Yeah. Anyways.
Hopefully not.
But you said 60 teas. Which are your favourite teas in general then, stranding away from black teas? Unless it's a black tea.
I think possibly my favourite tea is I have vanilla and almond rooibos.
Sorry?
Vanilla and almond rooibos, so red bush tea.
Okay.
But yeah, flavored with vanilla and almond, which are two flavors that I love anyway. Yeah, I originally wasn't much of a fan of like flavored tea. I was more of a, tea purist, like it just has to be tea. But I've definitely branched out, and that's very good. I'm a fan of a vanilla chai as well now.
There's chai tea. Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I just always think of chai latte. Anyway.
Yeah.
Vanilla chai tea. What's that like?
It's good. It's, I mean, vanilla-y. It's also got a bit of cinnamon in it, so it's quite nice in in the winter, cold evening, warm spot. It's quite comforting.
For sure. As you drink your tea.
It's very on brand, isn't it?
It is. I love how, but you did that without noticing how.
It's not deliberate.
Well, you clearly like your teas.
I do like my teas. Also, I've got 60 different kinds of tea. I've got to get through them somehow.
Yeah. Do they all are they all caffeinated? Do you know if they're all caffeinated, or is that a myth? You don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Afraid.
So you have 60
so there are some. There are some teas that are they're marketed as tea, but they're not actually tea, as in they don't come from the same plant as like black teas and white teas and green teas. Though I believe all of those that come from that plant are caffeinated, but there are essentially blends that somewhat resemble tea. Like at home you make them in the same way, but they're not actually from the same plant, and they're not caffeinated. Or, well, they might be, but not necessarily.
Well, you were saying that in like the Japanese themed tea session and the Korean one, that there were like different presentations.
Yeah.
What have the presentations been like? Like what kind of things have they done?
They've been great. So, I mean, as I said in the Japanese one, there was an actual, they enacted a Japanese tea ceremony of like, washing the cups and everything. I don't really know the proper names for any of it, but that was quite interesting to see. We've had a Chinese tea ceremony as well. We had a guy in who was talking about, I think he was from Nepal, and he was talking about, again, the different processes of making different kinds of tea. Please don't test me on that. But it was very interesting. He had a whole PowerPoint and everything. And then, yeah, in some of the weeks we've done it joint with sort of different societies. And so we did one joint with Russian society, and they sort of put on other activities around it relating to Russian culture. So it sort of gives you something else to do while you're there, and could potentially, in some of the sessions we have talks and things, so you can sort of chat more about tea rather than just general. And then some of our sessions are just a bit more chilled, and we'll just essentially put some teapots out and you can have a chat about whatever you like.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Besides coming to these sessions where you're just meeting people and all drinking tea, are there any other ways of getting involved? Like, does the society have a committee?
Yeah, so the society does have a committee. So we have, classic committee positions, to be honest. We have president, we have secretary, treasurer, IT officer, and sponsorship officer. So sponsorship officer mainly looks at sort of working with external companies or other societies and seeing how we can get them involved in tea events. Usually committee is just people who show up and love the society. We host elections in Hillary term usually, to go through for the next, so Trinity term and then to the next Hillary. yeah, would strongly recommend getting involved. It's great fun. Having been president, you know, you get to decide on what all the themes of weeks are, which can sometimes be that, you know, oh, I think this would be a great week, and sometimes it's just, you know what, I really want to try some of this kind of tea, so let's put that on and make that happen. It's fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, I can relate in terms of actually the podcast. Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, this is a great idea, and sometimes it's just like, you know, actually I want to know this, and I'm going to do an episode just for me, and
Exactly.
Oh, no, that's great.
There's also, I should probably mention this earlier, there's also a varsity trip.
Oh wow.
We have a lot of tea puns. That's another thing that's, you know, comes up a lot in the society.
Nice. Great.
Yeah. So we have a varsity trip every year, which we do joint with the Cambridge Tea Appreciation Society. And obviously it hasn't been able to happen this year, but it usually happens over Easter. And last year we went to, there's actually an annual like tea festival in London that essentially has all different stalls of different kinds of tea and snacks that go well with tea and things that are tea infused. And we went to that last year, which was brilliant. I honestly never knew there was such a thing as a tea festival. There's just loads of people there looking at tea. Wow. And I know they've done things like tea crawls around London in the past, so essentially going to different tea rooms and tea shops and things in London. So, you know, that's also definitely another positive.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. That sounds amazing. Yeah, it's tea cruise, just like is adding more evidence to the idea that this is just a peaceful non-alcoholic drinking culture.
Exactly.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. So if we were to sum up before we finish up, why do you think? Actually, no. Before we finish up, there's another question. How have you found it being president? What things have you? Yeah, how have you found it?
Oh, it's been brilliant. I actually first got involved with Tea Society because in Freshers Week, so the year before I was president, there was another guy from Trinity who was president. So I, you know, continued the Trinity dynasty, which is a pun that he hated, but there we go. Nice. Sorry, I had to get it in there.
Now the world is great.
Yeah, so there was a PPEist at Trinity in the year above who was president before I was, and in Freshers Week, in, you know, subject drinks, I met him, and I mean, he'd had maybe a few too many drinks, and just started throwing Tea Society term cards around the room. Like, he literally handed them to people and then just sort of threw them in the air. And he then went on like a 10-minute spiel about why I should go to Tea Appreciation Society. So I did. I was like, you know what? First week of Michaelmas term in my first year, I was like, let's try it out and see. And it was just great fun. And it was great to meet loads of different people, go to a different college, because it used to be held at Corpus. I think it was held at Christchurch before that, then Corpus. It's now at Trinity, but who knows where it will move next. But yeah, it's great to, you know, go see another college, meet people from different colleges, different courses, everything.
Nice, great, that's amazing. Well, my last question was actually why it's great. So I feel like now, unless no, that's how it is. But yeah, I think I'll definitely be going to Tea Society again once we can, and we'll definitely have a little browse through different types of teas, because I think I've maxed out decaf Tetley as much as I loved.
Well, if you need any inspiration, you can, you know, like our Facebook page, Oxford University Tea Appreciation Society. Nice little plug there. And, you know, you can scroll back through all the photos of the different teas we've had in different weeks. I'm really subtle, aren't I?
Is there anything else you want to plug? And now that you've got your chance, just get it all
No,
out.
I think I'm good now.
You'll be good. I was like, oh, there's more. And then it's just like, wow, I'm lost for words. But yes, as Claire said, if you're interested in the Tea Appreciation Society, they apparently have a Facebook page with lots of interesting photos of the past themes. And yeah, but that's all that we've got time for today. As Claire said, quite similar. If you enjoy that episode, follow us on YouTube, Oxford from the Inside, and on our Instagram as well, or whichever platform you're listening to, on podcasting platforms. And yeah, hope stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.